Dallas, Texas, November 22, 1963, 12:30 in the afternoon. The sun is out. The President of the United States is riding in an open motorcade through a cheering crowd. John F. Kennedy, 35th President, war hero, father of two, the youngest man ever elected to the office, is waving from the back seat of a Lincoln Continental. He is 46 years old. He has been president for 1,036 days. 3 shots. In under 9 seconds, the world changed. President Kennedy was struck twice, once in the back of the neck, once in the head. Texas Governor John Connally, seated in front of him, was also wounded. The motorcade raced to Parkland Memorial Hospital. At 1 p.m., John Fitzgerald Kennedy was pronounced dead. The most powerful nation on earth had just lost its leader in broad daylight. And within hours, the question that has never fully been answered was already being asked. Who did this? Within 90 minutes of the assassination, Dallas police arrested a 24-year-old named Lee Harvey Oswald, not for Kennedy's murder, but for the killing of police officer J.D. Tippit, who Oswald shot shortly after the assassination. But Oswald's background immediately made him the prime suspect in Dealey Plaza. He was a former U.S. Marine who had defected to the Soviet Union in 1959. He had lived in Minsk for nearly 3 years. He had returned to America with a Soviet wife, and he had been working in the building the shots were fired from. On the 6th floor of the Texas School Book Depository, police found a Mannlicher Carcano rifle, a cheap bolt-action Italian military surplus weapon, 3 spent shell casings nearby, a makeshift sniper's nest built from boxes of books. The rifle was traced through mail-order records to A. Heidel, an alias Oswald had used. Handwriting analysis matched it to him. The distance from that window to Kennedy's car, 88 meters. For a trained Marine marksman, an achievable shot. But was it his only shot? Lee Harvey Oswald never stood trial. 2 days after the assassination, while being transferred between police facilities in full view of television cameras, he was shot and killed by Jack Ruby, a Dallas nightclub owner with known connections to organized crime figures. Oswald died without making a statement under oath. The only man officially accused of killing the President of the United States was silenced before he could tell his story. For many Americans, that silence was louder than anything he could have said. President Lyndon Johnson, who was sworn into office on the same day Kennedy died, established the Warren Commission 7 days after the assassination. Led by Chief Justice Earl Warren, the commission spent 10 months reviewing evidence, interviewing 552 witnesses, and examining thousands of documents. On September 24, 1964, they delivered their conclusion. Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone. No conspiracy, no second gunman. 1 man, 3 shots. Case closed. The most controversial element of the Warren Commission's findings was what critics would call the magic bullet theory. To account for all the wounds suffered by Kennedy and Connally while maintaining that only 3 shots were fired, the commission concluded a single bullet struck Kennedy in the upper back, exited his throat, and then wounded Connally in multiple places. The bullet recovered, CE-399, was found in nearly pristine condition. Critics asked a pointed question. How does a bullet cause 7 wounds and emerge virtually undamaged? The Warren Commission's report was 888 pages long. The American public never fully accepted it. Within 2 years of publication, polls showed a majority of Americans doubting its conclusions. The magic bullet trajectory, the suspicious killing of Oswald, the destruction of key evidence, and unresolved questions about Oswald's intelligence connections fed a distrust that has never fully receded. By the time the House Select Committee on Assassinations re-examined the evidence in 1979, even the U.S. government had changed its official position. The most important piece of evidence in the Kennedy assassination is 26 seconds of home movie footage shot by a Dallas clothing manufacturer named Abraham Zapruder. The Zapruder film captured the entire assassination sequence. Frame 313, The Headshot, became the most analyzed piece of film in history. Critics of the Warren Commission argued that Kennedy's visible reaction in the film was more consistent with a shot from the front, specifically from the grassy knoll to the right of the motorcade, than from the rear, where Oswald was positioned. More than 50 witnesses in Dealey Plaza reported that they believed at least one shot came from the grassy knoll, a raised area with a wooden fence to the right front of the motorcade. Several witnesses ran toward the knoll immediately after the shots. At least one reported the smell of gunpowder near the fence. An enhanced photograph appeared to show a figure behind the fence, a detail that has never been conclusively explained or dismissed. The grassy knoll remains the most disputed piece of real estate in American history. In 1979, the U.S. House Select Committee on Assassinations reopened the investigation. Using acoustic analysis of a police radio recording from that day, their experts identified 4 impulses consistent with gunshots and concluded with 95% probability that a 4th shot came from the grassy knoll. Their official conclusion? President Kennedy was probably killed as the result of a conspiracy. The U.S. government's own second investigation contradicted its first. That finding has never been formally reconciled. Theory 1. The CIA. Kennedy's relationship with the agency was fractured beyond repair. After the Bay of Pigs disaster, a CIA-planned invasion of Cuba that Kennedy refused to support with air cover, resulting in catastrophic failure. He fired CIA Director Allen Dulles. He reportedly told advisors he wanted to dismantle the agency. Oswald's own intelligence-adjacent biography, his posting at a classified U-2 base, his unchallenged defection to the USSR, his unexplained return, has led many researchers to conclude he was not just a disgruntled loner, but an asset who was manipulated and then eliminated. Theory 2. Organized crime. The Kennedy administration, through Attorney General Robert Kennedy, was waging the most aggressive crackdown on the American mafia in history. Wiretaps, deportations, grand jury investigations. Mob boss Carlos Marcello had been forcibly deported to Guatemala on Robert Kennedy's orders. Santos Traficante Jr., who controlled Cuba's casinos before Castro, reportedly told a Cuban contact that Kennedy was going to be hit. And Jack Ruby, the man who silenced Oswald, had documented connections to organized crime figures in both Chicago and Dallas. Theory 3. Cold War actors. Oswald's Soviet connections and his pro-Cuba activism have long fueled speculation about Soviet or Cuban involvement. But the intelligence consensus, then and now, is that neither the USSR nor Cuba would have risked all-out war with the United States by assassinating its president. Khrushchev reportedly wept when he heard Kennedy was dead. The more persistent Cold War theory involves anti-Castro Cuban exile groups, some of whom had CIA connections and viewed Kennedy as a traitor for refusing full support at the Bay of Pigs. Their rage was real and documented. Theory 4, and the most politically charged, points at Lyndon Baines Johnson. LBJ was Kennedy's vice president, a man of enormous ambition who had lost the Democratic nomination to Kennedy in 1960. He was under investigation for separate corruption allegations when Kennedy was killed. He became president within hours. He appointed the commission that investigated the murder. Proponents of this theory note the extraordinary consolidation of power and the investigation's convenient conclusions. Most mainstream historians reject it, but the questions about what Johnson knew and when have never fully disappeared. In 1992, the U.S. Congress passed a law mandating that all government records related to the Kennedy assassination be released to the public by the year 2017. 60 years after the assassination, that has still not happened. Presidents Trump and Biden both delayed full disclosure, citing national security. Thousands of CIA and FBI documents remain fully or partially classified. The question of what is in those files and why a 6-decade-old assassination still requires classified protection has never been adequately answered by any administration. The Kennedy assassination matters not because it is a historical puzzle,
It matters because of what the failure to fully answer it says about the relationship between citizens and the institutions that govern them. When the government withholds files about its own investigation into the murder of a president 60 years later, the trust that democracy requires is quietly corroded. Whatever happened on November 22, 1963, the refusal to fully account for it has cost something that cannot be measured in documents. The Warren Commission said, "One man, one gun, no conspiracy." 60 years of evidence, testimony, acoustic analysis, and still classified government files say it's complicated. The case is officially closed. The question, who really killed JFK, is not.